Alright, so after pretty much a long awaited review right here, this is going to be my review of the first volume of the IDW Powerpuff Girls comic. Yeah, it's the Powerpuff Girls comic Second Chances. Sorry, I just completely stumbled over all my sentence right there. So the story is that, pretty much it starts out with Mojo Jojo. He has decided, apparently, that he no longer wants to be evil and asked Professor Utonium to use this thing called Antidote X on himself and turn him back into Jojo. If you guys remember, Mojo Jojo started out as Jojo, the professor's assistant, which pretty much inadvertently created the Powerpuff Girls in that little accident. But yeah. So Jojo, he turns himself, so he's allowed to be turned back into Jojo. While this is going on, him is watching the whole thing and decides, you know what? No one gets a second chance. Either you're born good or you're born evil. You can't change that. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to prove my point by turning all the villains of Townsville into good guys. So he pretty much turns, yeah, that's what he does. He turns every other villain in Townsville into good guys. He turns Princess, the Gangrene Gang, Fuzzy Lumpkin, and Sedusa all into good guys, and even the Amoeba Boys. There's a hilarious little side story with the Amoeba Boys, and I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, it's really good. What I love about this comic, in general, what I love about this comic book, and I haven't been able to read, like, the Samurai Jack, or even the Super Secret Crisis War, or the Dexter's Laboratory comic. What I have been able to read, however, what I've read of this, it feels like it's the cartoon all over again. That's what I really love about this comic on a whole, is that it truly does feel like you can hear the announcer, you can hear the voice, you can hear Tara Strong for Bubbles in the dialogue, you can hear Tom Kane as him. You can hear everyone. You can hear everyone's voices coming out in these word bubbles. That's how well it's written. When you can make me think back to all the the little tropes and quirks each of the characters have, and make me think of those voice actors when there's no one around to read these lines. That's really good. That is really good. What I really like about this is that this really does some stuff that really, because you have to remember, there are some dark moments, just some really dark moments there were some really dark moments in the cartoon, and there's some really dark moments, especially when it comes to him in this series. I don't want to, well, I guess I'll spoil it here, is that pretty much what what him does when he reveals his plan is that it's almost like Killing Joke level evil, because what he does is that he, like I said, he was just trying to prove a point when he makes everyone evil again. He was pretty much trying to prove a point that these guys weren't, what did they do? What was the first thing they did after I made them evil, when I stopped mind controlling them? They went right back to being evil. There's no way to change them. No one deserves a second chance. There's no such thing as that. And he goes even further by using by making, shadow clones based off the 7 deadly sins off of all the characters, especially with Bubbles and Buttercup, who have pride and wrath, which I thought was really interesting there. Going back real quick to the Amoeba Boys real quick. The Amoeba Boys have this hilarious side story of basically when the Amoeba Boys are also turned good, and what they do is that they join the army, and they have this hilarious scene where they're stationed in Nevada to protect grease made for fast food, because it's and they go to the bar instead of guarding it, and they get court-martialed and locked up. And the best part was, it's kind of left open that they probably weren't mind-controlled, they were just that stupid. Which, again, for the Amoeba Boys, you guys remember, the Amoeba Boys were not that... these guys made Ed look like a genius, right? So, when they do something like this, it's hilarious, because they just have this moment where this sergeant who's in charge of them when they join the army, so, he goes on this big speech of like, this grease is made for the fatty food of Americans everywhere. What are you going to do? And they just shout, "Freedom fries forever!" And I was like, God damn it, that's really it. Yeah. But again, it's really good because it does really get in that whole thing of, can these characters can be good? Can they really be good? Because it's really left open. And again, I have not been able to read the further past this first volume. I have not been able to read past the first volume, but it does kind of leave open-ended that there may be some change, especially for Fuzzy. There may, Fuzzy and several of the characters are kind of left open-ended, like they could change sides. The Green Gang could change, Princess could change, and even especially Fuzzy. They really lay it on that Fuzzy Fuzzy Lumpkin out of all the characters may be the one to, turn good, because he and Bubbles actually become friends, and it's actually kind of adorable. It's kind of frickin' adorable. He also, when he was good, Fuzzy also had this deal of becoming a real estate agent. Yeah, just let that thought sit in your head for a second. Fuzzy became a real estate agent, and then when him took away the mind control and made him go back to his regular self again, he lost it. And when he's talking to him, he goes, "I had a really damn good deal." He didn't swear, but yeah, "I had a really good deal with that real estate job. I was a closer. I was making a lot of money, and you took that from me." Oh man. There's just so many good moments in here, and again, I'm obviously going to spoil this. Mojo does not stay as JoJo. He goes back to being Mojo Jojo, and how he I don't want to spoil this because it's gross, but it's funny at the same time. He leaves a note on the wall when he goes back to being Mojo Jojo. And what that note is made out of is nothing short of disgusting. But yeah, they do kind of leave at the end of the story arc. Mojo Jojo is planning something with the Antidote X and the Chemical X, and he's now out in space, and he intends on doing something to the world. Again, I have not been able to read further past this first volume because I don't have the money, and I only got this for like, what, $4 at MegaCon? So yeah. Again, if you were really a fan of the Powerpuff Girls as a kid like I was, growing up with this, then there's a good chance you'll really enjoy this comic book. Like I said, it feels like it's just another season of the show. So I highly recommend this, absolutely. But once again, hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.